we're going to take the medical attack vehicle and we're going to add a very, very, very efficient air conditioning system. If you follow along on the panorama van build, you'll know what I'm talking about. So first off, what air conditioner comes with it? This thing sitting right here, which is eventually going to be the kitchen, this is the rear air conditioner. It's controlled by this panel up here. It is extremely strong and powerful, and within a few minutes it can turn this place into a refrigerator. However, it has to run off the engine, so that requires between a half gallon and 3/4 gallons of diesel per hour, which is just too expensive and noisy. So there is a much better way. You may recognize this little window AC unit. It's a very efficient unit. It's 5,000 BTU. In its normal running mode, it uses between 400 and 450 watts, which isn't much, but it does have a startup spike that can go upwards of 800 and 900 for just a few moments. So yeah, there's another video I did for the Panorama Van Build air conditioning where I add a capacitor to it to help bring that jolt down, so for hard starting. So now, this I can hook up to my 1,000-watt generator, and I can run this now in eco mode for 3 to 4 hours on just a half gallon of gasoline. So very efficient. Now what I want to do, what I learned, if you ever saw my video on the Land Rover, I actually put this on railings and it would slide out the window. But after playing with it a lot, I found out that if you're careful about how you duct the air around it, you can actually have this inset and it'll be just as efficient. So the airflow around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a hole here and here, and this is going to sit inside the bay underneath. And so hopefully you'll just see this much here sticking out of there, and then an opening in the floor to bring the air down. Okay, so here's our outside bay, and here is where the floor is inside, and here's that box. So I'm going to need to cut a section out here and a section out up under here. So here I've marked out my first cuts for the width here. I'm going to cut this section out here and then work my way up into the floor inside. This part I'm not worried about. I'm not cutting carpeting or trim. Now, the Black & Decker reciprocal saw that I had, those poor, after 10 years and those stainless steel bins inside, it gave up the ghost, so I got a proper one. I really like this DeWalt one because you can mount this blade 4 different ways. You can do this way, this way, this way, that way. So that helps get in some really tight spaces, plus this angle. So what I can do here is I can hold it at this angle and I can still get in there and should be able to cut most of that bin out. Well, I gotta tell you, after all this work that's gone into this, cutting the hole in the floor was painful for me. But you can see this is how far back it'll fit. Now the whole thing is gonna raise up 2.5 inches. I gotta cut out this section here. That'll raise the whole unit up 2.5 inches so that this vent will be above the floor. So here's how our little unit is shaping up. It extended farther out in the room than I really wanted, and since it's going to extend out, I went ahead and raised it up a bit more. I was going to have the floor level here. I took it down another inch. Now I could raise the thing all the way up to the top board, and this would give a lot more circulation to the front. The problem is that blocks the top vents on the exterior, which needs to circulate on all the sides. So I split the difference, and you can see, let's see, there's floor height. So what I need to do now is I need to build a frame and make sure it's locked in. Then I need to build a box around here so that it's separated from the inside and the outside. So I've got it slid in on some brackets underneath, put some side supports inside, put some 2x4s down on each side. Now I've got this sitting at a pretty severe, well, at an angle. They're made to go at an angle so they drain outside. So I kind of did a little bit more of an angle. That way I kind of get a little more airflow into the intake. So I need to be able to slide this out and change the air filter. So I put it on some brackets like this. So, and then I've just temporarily put these screws in here to keep it from sliding out. So the idea being I'll put another bracket there, and I should just be able to undo these 2 brackets and slide the unit out. Also could change the angle. And so then the door can be closed up tight. I could put a big old vent in the door, but I don't want to do that. I think I'm okay when I'm using the air conditioner to just tie back this door. But as far as airflow, We've got good airflow at the top. We've got some at the side, some more down on that side, and a little bit will be able to come in that side. It's going to look weird if I have a box here, and then it jumps up again. So I'm thinking about getting a board, or go ahead and putting a 1/2-inch plywood across here and down, and that way it'll just be another step instead of up, over, down, up, you know. Okay, so here I made a little platform, just took a little bit of trim, leftover pieces, and made this little luan thing here, pre-drilled and stuck some screws in there. Where this is going to go is I'm going to go down underneath, and I'm going to fit this down in there, and it's going to go up against the bottom of the air conditioner to form right there. So I've got my bottom piece in there. I just cut a real quick piece there, a real quick piece here to slide in here so that we can test it out and have the inside isolated from the outside. There's a couple little vent pieces here that go to the outside, so I've temporarily covered those with tape. They'll eventually be covered by the cabinet that I built around it. So I plugged it in. I haven't tried it yet, so this poor unit's been beat up. So let's give it a go. There's a fan, and then, hey, the compressor kicked on. So it seems to be running pretty good. I think that's a good amount of air to be able to get in the top and the bottom. A good breeze coming out from here. And really the sound level is quite low. I'm impressed, and I haven't even added any sound insulation to it, which could bring it down a little quieter. Love it. I'm gonna let it run, see how it cools the place down. All right, extremely happy with this setup. As I suspected, the cold air isn't getting over here. It tends to just circulate over here. So I was playing with putting this right here, and this helped a lot. So I'm gonna need to build a little diverter here to throw the cold air up. And you know, could eventually get pretty fancy and build some ductwork with a box. So build the diverter here, and that'll still allow enough warm air to go in here. So when it's not in use, I want a little drop down flooring unit here that'll be from here to here, plus a piece from here to here. So when you're not using it, you won't even see it and then probably carpet over the whole thing. And so next job is making it look presentable. I've been busy making some fun and interesting cuts. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of detail work, but I'm enjoying it and I'm learning a lot. So I made this piece right here, and this one goes down in here, goes all the way to the bottom, and this is going to close off any gaps here from outside. And I'll need to make another one for the other side. Now I've made my box, and so it just goes over the top like this. Just a simple box, took some time. That table saw was absolutely invaluable for making these cuts. It would have been impossible with a jigsaw. They would have been all over the place, because the other part of the box just fits right over it, like this. Once it's carpeted, maybe a metal piece of trim on the front, just kind of looks like a little step. The back part will be fixed. The front part will come off when you want to use the air conditioner, and you'll have a little storage bin on the right. So there's now, and you can see here though that we still have a gap here and a piece of wood here. So what's going to happen there is I saved the piece of wood from the floor, and I cut it here to cover all the way up to the edge. And then I took another piece and cut it like this, and it's going to go right up against it. All right, the project is complete. Here is the bay. I've got everything set in here. I went ahead and painted everything gray, like the walls inside. Make it a little better looking. Everything is supported. I drilled 2 holes in the bottom right corner and the bottom left corner. You can see this one's dripping. So I'm gonna have to come up with some sort of condensation catching system, but that's okay. That's pretty easy to come up with, no problem. Let's go take a look on the inside. So there it is. so it's not in use. I decided not to put the metal trim around it because I didn't want to make it stand out. I kind of wanted to make it just kind of fade in. So that's what it looks like. When you're ready to use it, just tilt this forward and just set it right over here. How about that? And then I made my diverter here. Can remove that. I made this floor insert to go right in here, but as it turns out I don't need it because the cover reaches pretty much to the edge. So I just turn my air conditioner on. Just set my little diverter here, and I may end up screwing that down tight because I can still reach under here. So there's my little storage cubby. Painted it all out inside. And so when it's running, there's what it looks like. So that is the air conditioner install episode. I hope you enjoyed it. This was fun, and now that I've got it nice and comfortable in here, I'm ready to do another project. So for the next project, I need to decide whether to go back to do the kitchen, which I'm leaning towards. Also, I've got a bay out here, which is going to be the perfect place for a generator. So I can build a generator bay there. It actually even has a vent inside there that exits. So I'm kind of leaning towards going back and doing the kitchen. So one other neat thing about this is now that I'm using it more, things are starting to work. So here's something that's really neat. Whenever you open and close the door, that light automatically comes on. So I need to change that over to an LED. But that's just something that's pretty cool and helpful. Also, that does the same thing for the back door. So if I'm at the back door and I open the back door, those floodlights come on. Pretty handy. So I hope you'll join me next time and we'll see what kind of fun stuff we can build.